Today I'm going to be reading you Nicolas, Where Have You Been? At the edge of the great meadow, 4 little field mice were nibbling berries. Look for the red ones, said Elodie. They're the sweetest and juiciest, said Henry. Because they're ripe, said Will. But all they could find were pale pink berries that were neither sweet nor juicy. The ripe red ones had already been picked. The birds got here before you, said Uncle Raymond, who was watching them. That's not fair, said Nicholas. Why should they get the best berries? Down with the birds. Down with the birds, all the little mice shouted. Then and there, Nicholas decided to look for a berry patch that the birds had not yet discovered. He would find the sweetest and juiciest berries in the whole world, without telling anyone. He set out across the great meadow. He walked on and on and on, seeing nothing but the tall grass that surrounded him. At last, Nicholas reached a clearing. He scanned the horizon, but there wasn't a berry in sight. Then suddenly he heard a noise of flapping wings. He looked up. A big, ugly bird swooped down on him. Before Nicholas could run back into the tall grass and hide, the bird grabbed him up with its sharp claws and carried him to the sky. Help! Help! Nicholas cried. He twisted and wiggled it wildly, and the bird lost its grip. Nicholas plunged through the air. He landed in a nest where 3 little bitty birds were dozing off. They jumped up. Who are you? They asked. I'm Nicholas, a field mouse. He told them all about his little adventure to find the berries. Stay with us, said the little birds. You can tell us mouse stories, and we can tell you all about birds. Then their mother appeared with a worm. Mother, said one of the little birds, this is Nicholas, a field mouse. May he stay with us? Of course, said the mother bird. But what do little field mice eat? Berries, said Nicholas. Field mice like nuts, corn, and berries. Ripe red berries. The mother bird flew off and soon returned with a bright red berry. Nicholas couldn't believe his eyes. It was the sweetest berry he had ever tasted. The days flew by. Nicholas ate berries to his heart's content. He and little birds peeped and tweaked in mouse songs and bird songs and funny stories. And at night they cuddled up against the mother's soft down fur. But one morning, Nicholas woke up to discover that his friends had flown away. They had left a big pile of berries in the nest, but Nicholas was too sad to eat. Nicholas knew that the time had come for him to leave the high nest. Fearfully, he climbed down and down and down, till he was finally to the ground. When he finally reached the ground, he found him face to face with Elodie, Henry, William. Nicholas, they shouted excitedly. Where have you been? We've been looking all over for you. Nicholas began telling what had happened, but when he told how the big, ugly bird swooped down and grabbed him up with its claws, the others became furious. And before Nicholas could add another word, they shouted, Down with the birds! War on the birds! War on all birds! They shouted on and on and on. Let me finish, Nicholas insisted desperately. Let me finish my story. When the mice had finally quieted down, Nicholas told them about the nest, and the birds, and the songs, and the stories. Little by little, the anger faded from their faces. Suddenly they shouted, Nicholas, look behind you. Nicholas turned around. There were birds. In their beaks they carried ripe red berries he knew so well. For you, they said. Just then, Uncle Raymond appeared from behind a tree. He smiled and slowly raised his cane. That shows you, he said. The one bad bird doesn't make a flock. Then he joined the others. It was a feast, everyone included. Uncle Raymond agreed that the berries were the most delicious they had ever had. And that's the end.